Okay, so now today what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about the graphs of rational functions. And so if you remember, the rational functions had two asymptotes, right? This way and this way. And then it had the two branches, like the line that got blown apart. So a rational function, the parent function was 1 over x. So if you look, and I know you have two pink sheets, I'm on the one that has the ISN on top. So make sure you're on that one. Then you got two of the same, Lovey. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to reduce each one of these fractions. And when I do that, when I reduce them, it says simplify each and state the excluded value. And so what number did I say we can't divide by? Ever. 0, right? Why could we not divide by 2, Isaac? Yes, you did. You said it twice, as a matter of fact. I don't either. 2 is a safe number to divide by. 0, however, you cannot divide by, ever. 2 is okay. 2. All right. Yes, I'm recording. Okay. So on top, I can't reduce anything, so I get a 10. The 6v and the 10, what do they have in common? 2. 2 is okay. So I get 3v plus 5. So I had 10 over 2, and what does that reduce to? 5, and where does the 5 go? On the top, right? So I'm going to have 5 over 3v plus 5. So that's the reduced rational function, the rational expression here. But now I need the excluded value, and the excluded value is what makes the denominator 0. So if I have 3v plus 5 and it's equal to 0, if I subtract the 5, I get negative 5, and if I divide by 3, I get v equals a negative. So v cannot equal a negative 5 over 3, because that's what makes the denominator 0. Yes, so I want this and this. So on the next one, there's nothing to reduce on top, but on bottom, what can I factor out of the 10x? Right, 10. So I'm going to have x minus 2. So what cancels now? I have to put a 1 on top as my, right here. So what's going to make the denominator 0? So x cannot equal 2. Yes. And so also, if you look at this, if you'll remember, the minus 2 is with the x, and so that's a liar. So which way does this shift? To the right. And so that's why it can't equal 2, because there's an asymptote there. Okay? Okay, so if we look at number 3, first of all, I want to factor on top. And to factor, first of all, I can't have a negative a squared. I don't want a negative a squared, so I'm going to have to take out a negative 1. Okay? And second of all, it's not written in standard form, so I'm just going to rewrite. I'm going to take out a negative 1, and then I'm going to write it in standard form. So when I do that, the a squared goes to the front, right? And now it's positive. The 4a comes next, bless you, and becomes negative. And the 5 becomes negative. So because the a squared is negative, and you can't factor it if it's negative. So pardon? No, because I take out a negative, so all of the signs on top had to change. So then if I factor on top, I have negative 5 and negative 4. No? That's okay. So what what factors of 5 are going to be negative 4? What position do you play in football? Do you have to count? Thank heaven. Do you have to pay attention if you're the receiver? That's a problem. All right. So I get a minus 5 and a plus 1. And then how can I factor the bottom? Because it's a perfect square. So if I do that, I get a plus 5 and a minus 5. What happens? Very good. The a minus 5's cancel, and that leaves me with a minus a plus 1 over a plus 5. And so what would my restricted value be? I put the negative right there. Thank you. So it's negative 5. Yes, only the bottom for now. So everybody factor number 4, top and bottom, and see what cancels. No, I paused it to take attendance. So I get negative 50 and 5. So that's going to be 10 and negative 5. So on top, I have n plus 10 and n minus 5. On the bottom, I have 45 and negative 14. So what cancels? That cancels, and what's my restricted value? No, it's really this easy. I do think, I think the rational stuff that we're about to do, this is all very, it's very easy. It's very intuitive. So, okay, so first of all, I have 4 minus p squared. So I have to take out the negative 1, right? And I get p squared minus 4. No, you can just put the negative. So this factors to negative p plus 2 and p minus 2. And on bottom, I have 16 and negative 10, which is going to give me negative 8 and negative 2. So I'll show, like on this one, you see how I canceled and I didn't rewrite it. That's okay. But on some of them, if I can't tell what the answer is, like for instance, here, when you're canceling the 5, you're going to have to rewrite it so I know your answer. But I don't mind, like on this one, if you want to leave it like this, that's okay, right? I know what you mean. And P can't equal. Why would you get in trouble? Probably, yeah. I think Miss Lee won't like that, yeah. Okay. Number 6, what do I have to change? So on top, I have negative 4 and negative 3. So it's going to be negative 4 plus 1. So I'm going to get n minus 4 and n plus 1. And if I change the bottom, I have negative, so I get n squared plus n minus 20. So my a times c is going to be negative 20 and 1. So that's going to give me 5 and negative 4. So I get negative n minus 4 and n plus 5. These cancel, and my restricted value is negative 5. So Somebody in my last class asked that question also. Can you leave the negative in the bottom? Does it matter if it's in the bottom or on top or in front? It doesn't matter. They're all the same. So it's really personal preference wherever you want to put it, okay? So number 7 changes just a little bit. What's in common on top? 8. So I get x plus 7. So is there any greatest common denominator on the bottom? No. So I get negative 72 and negative 40. Oh, 84, sorry. Correct. So I get negative 42 and 2. So I have a leading coefficient, though. It's not just an x this time. So I get 7x minus 42 and 7x plus 2. And this one reduces by 7. So I have 8 times x plus 7 over x minus 6 times 7x plus 2. So this is my reduced rational function right here. And my restricted values are 6 and then a negative 2/7. If I subtract 2 and divide by 7, I get negative 2/7. Yeah, that's okay. What's in common? What's in common on top? 6, and that gives me 2b plus 9. And what do I have in common on bottom? I think 6. So the 6's cancel out. On bottom, I have a times c, which is negative 28, and my b term is 12. So I want factors of negative 28 that add or subtract to 12. How about 14 and negative 2? Counting, we're back to the counting, Isaac. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So I have 2b plus 9, and then I get 7b plus 14, and 7b minus 2. This divides by 7. So my restricted value is negative 2, and then a positive 2/7 this time. Okay, I want to do one more on the assignment. So look at number 1. What do they have in common on top? 2 and what? 2m. So I get 3m minus 5. And on bottom I have 10m. So what cancels here? The 2 and the 10, right? And that gives me 5. This cancels to 5. And my m's cancel out, and it leaves me with 3m minus 5. So that's the reduced rational. Now, the question is, on the bottom, what's the restricted value? Why? There's no variable here, so you can't restrict anything. So there's no restricted values for this one. Okay, so that is the answer. Okay, we're doing the odds, and it's due on Monday. Yes.